Welcome to this course on health and safety in a construction environment. I'm Dave Austin.
And I'm Helen Fisher. The purpose of this course is to give you the essential health and safety knowledge and skill set to be able to work safely on a construction site. So here we are on a typical construction site, but perhaps the word typical is a bit unfair because every construction site is different, especially when it comes to size.
But no matter what the size, whether for the construction of just a single house, a large housing estate, commercial offices, manufacturing plants, or tall tower blocks, they all do have a lot in common. You'll find demolition and excavation work, perhaps for building foundations. This is regularly carried out by heavy machinery and can be done using hand tools as well, whether powered or unpowered.
To explore what the word danger means and how we perceive it, let's consider the following scenario. Your company has been awarded a 10-year contract to build some commercial offices situated within a mile of a nuclear power station. Your current commute to the site could take a couple of hours each way. There's a nice house available in a village, also just over a mile from the nuclear power station. Now, based on your knowledge of nuclear disasters such as Chernobyl and Fukushima, how would you feel about moving into that house in the village? The lifting and handling of materials and equipment is a regular occurrence on a construction site, and as we've said, it's responsible for a lot of injuries and lost work time. In this unit, we will study the general principles of safe lifting and handling and then see how these apply to construction sites.
In your work, you'll probably be no stranger to lifting heavy parts or equipment. However, after this video, we hope that you will be a stranger to any sort of manual handling injury. Typically, about 31% of all reported injuries every year are caused by handling accidents. These injuries are mainly sprains and strains. However, lacerations, contusions and fractures are also prominent. And it's no surprise that the back, and more specifically the spine, are the areas that are injured the most by handling accidents. It involves stooping, twisting, carrying for excessive distances, frequent or prolonged physical effort, or the risk of the load moving. Next, looking at the load. Is it heavy, bulky or difficult to handle? Does it have contents that are likely to shift? Team members should ideally be of similar height and build. All team members must know the lifting sequence. One member must be nominated to act as coordinator. Good communication when lifting should reduce the risk of accidents happening. When team handling, the proportion of the load that each person carries may vary, especially when on sloped or uneven ground, or when two people are different heights. Just because two people can comfortably carry 15 kilogram loads each does not mean they can comfortably carry a 30 kilogram load between them. There may be points where one person will have to carry the far greater proportion of weight, which could result in unexpected injury. Obviously, not all loads will be small, box-shaped objects. You may come across loads that, although light enough to carry, are bulky and unwieldy. Damaged, they could cause the equipment to slip. Other styles, sides of the ladder, damaged in any way which could cause them to buckle under weight. They must be free from bends, kinks and tears. When up a ladder, do not lean on any nearby side walls, which again can destabilise the steps. Don't stand and work on the top 3 steps, including a step forming the very top of the stepladder, unless there is a suitable handhold. The first is a work restraint travel restriction system that prevents a worker getting into a fall position. This is an example of a personal protection measure to prevent a fall. And the second, a fall arrest system which arrests a fall and in so doing minimises the distance fallen and the consequences. So compared to stepladders, podiums have a much reduced risk of injury due to falling, but they may take a little longer to set up and maybe not fit in some tight locations. However, for many organisations, they are the preferred choice before considering use of a stepladder. A very effective alternative to the scaffold tower is the mobile elevating work platform. These are very portable and able to reach extreme heights in locations often inaccessible by other means. but they do introduce their own hazards and health and safety requirements. MUPs are another example of equipment with protection measures to prevent a fall.
Even if you aren't doing construction work, it's important to know what could be a source of asbestos in your workplace. I once heard a story where a school caretaker managed to dislodge a ceiling tile while replacing a lamp in a classroom. The tile smashed on the floor, and he did not even consider that it may have contained asbestos, and of course it did. Then, in the process of going to retrieve cleaning equipment, he managed to spread white asbestos with his boots, not only through the classroom and corridors, but also the school kitchen and reception area.
Other potentially harmful substances that are solid include cement, concrete, plaster or gypsum. Their powder form can cause damage to the lungs and eyes. They can also cause the skin to dry and become irritated, and in some cases cause a chemical burn.
Not all sites will contain the hazards we're going to look at, but on sites involving demolition, groundwork or refurbishment, you are more likely to encounter them. The first hazard may be a surprise: bird and bat droppings. Inhaling dust or water droplets containing contaminated bird, bat and some other animal droppings can lead to several diseases, including psittacosis, a flu-like illness that can lead to pneumonia. We mentioned Weil's disease earlier in the course when discussing the importance of good housekeeping and keeping waste from building up that can attract rats and other animals. Weil's disease, also known as leptospirosis, is a bacterial infection which is transmitted to humans through contact with contaminated water, soil or animal urine, primarily rats. Where vehicles are required to reverse on site, there should be adequate visibility around the vehicle for the driver to ensure safety. Safe systems of work need to be devised and followed for all reversing operations, particularly when signallers are used to control third-party risks or assist in the accurate positioning of the vehicle. Warning systems such as reversing warning lights and alarms give the lowest level of protection in the hierarchy. What can go wrong?
Although welding is a specialist task requiring specific training, you may work in the vicinity of it or even just walk past it, so there are some hazards to be aware of. Ultraviolet radiation from arc welding can cause inflammation of the cornea, commonly called arc eye. Now this can happen if you're just walking by and you catch the flash out of the side of your vision. Even working near sources of energy, such as electricity, will require a risk assessment to determine if workers nearby are at risk. This is a requirement of the electricity at work regulations. An example would be where ladders are used near overhead power lines. This might be an unrelated hazard to the actual work being carried out, but it's a hazard which can be deadly if control measures aren't implemented. Unfortunately, so is ignoring the rules in moments when we think that, it'll be all right not to wear PPE. It is an inevitability that at some stage during your working life in construction, or even if you just pass by a site when not working, you will see someone not wearing PPE. The most common example is not wearing their arm.